Welcome to Riverside Insight's Gifted Coordinator Toolkit for District Gifted Identification and Services Model Decision Making. I'm Monica Simons. You are here. This is the orientation video on this module. With the why. Remember, this is like our elevator speech. Every child deserves to be challenged. Countless research has affirmed this. However, the number one request often heard is, how do we create gifted services? So this module is going to help you walk through the thinking and the implementing of that process. Why would we want to do this? Well, we need to align instructional needs with the services that we are providing. We need to be able to demonstrate growth as an outcome of the services. Also, we want to ensure that every single child gets to grow and be successful and fulfilled. And we need to find ways to better support teachers to differentiate instruction for all learners, including those who are gifted or advanced. Let's dive into the guiding questions. Before you can begin designing services and identifying what needs you are going to provide those services for, you have to have a comprehensive understanding of who your district is. And that begins by collecting a whole lot of data. So the worksheet is going to provide you an opportunity to think through all the different ways you can look at your data. There are programs out there that can help you with some of this. You may have an internal program in your district that can do it, or you may be purchasing one. So you want to be able to look at all the different levels of instruction. So K-5, some districts may have 6 involved there. That's fine. Just adjust this for your needs. 6 through 8 and 9 through 12. In other words, how many students are there and how many schools. This is going to give you an idea of the type of enrollment you have. The next set of questions will ask you to look at your representation index as a district. In other words, what percent of your whole district is American Indian or Alaska Native? You will go through the entire process with that, including economically disadvantaged, multilingual, and those who receive special student services or 504. Then you want to see what your district may be doing well and what it may have an opportunity to do better. So do you have a STEM center or a STEAM center? Those have gained a lot of popularity. Specialized schools within the public school system are very popular. Then do you have specialized programming for advanced academics or advanced learners as a whole? So in other words, you're going to curate an understanding of what your district does at this point. Then you're going to look at a lot of data. In other words, get your state accountability data and get your local data so that you understand where you are performing well and where you are not performing well. This is really important to compare to what your district offers to see if it is yielding results for all or any learners, so you can make decisions about your advanced learners. For example, if you have STEM programming, but your science scores indicate that students are not receiving enough of a foundation in science, then you might want to take a look at what gaps may exist there. And then what has your Board of Trustees determined to be your goals for the district? What are the outcomes that they are monitoring and reporting out to the community? Once you have collected all of this information, you are going to develop your advanced learner profile. In what areas do you already serve advanced learners really well? What opportunities are already a part of how your district or your campus serves its students? And then you're going to identify where your advanced learners are not being provided opportunities to grow appropriately. The next part of that is to look at what instructional needs are most challenging to meet in the general education classroom. Let's talk about elementary for just a moment. If you have students who are already getting STEM education and they are progressing as you would hope they would, however, they are not, but they have instructional needs in humanities that are not being met, that might be something that's difficult and a challenge for the general education classroom teacher to address. We know advanced learners often learn well in an interdisciplinary setting, so a humanities opportunity for the students may be appropriate. That's going to lead you directly to 3. You have looked at your district as a whole. What do they offer and do well? Where are the gaps for your most advanced learners? And let that help you determine what your students need. The next thing you want to do is take a look at what assessments you already use in your district. You are beginning to move from service design as identified for what your students need into how you identify students for those services. To start with an evaluation of what currently exists in your district. What if you are using an assessment on a regular basis in your district, such as MAP, but you have identified STEM and you're not using the science portion of the MAP test? Are you going to design services that address STEM and or science? And if so, can you add on science to MAP? When you get to this point, you will identify assessments that are missing. Perhaps you already have a growth measure such as NWEA MAP or another achievement test such as the Iowa, but you don't have an ability test such as the COGAT. This is an opportunity to say, here are what our students' needs are. Here's how we can identify them. So we are going to have to add this assessment to do it appropriately. In number 5, it is crucial that you ensure your service design and your identification assessment measure are in alignment. In other words, you would not use a math test to identify students for a humanities service model. Districts are struggling with funding for education. Finding an assessment that yields more information than simply an identification is important. Using COGAT as part of your gifted identification process, more than just determining which students should receive those services. It also provides instructional information for how the students need to be served within the classroom or the service model. This makes using something like the COGAT fiscally responsible. So what are your top 3 priority steps? First, it is so important to ensure that you directly align the identification and services. Second, shift intervention strategies from deficit thinking to strengths-based thinking. Growth instead of a bright line achievement goal. Dive deeper into the research with these resources. We hope this Gifted Coordinator Toolkit on district gifted identification and service model decision making has been helpful. Let's continue the conversation and learn together.